All right, let's talk about NoSQL databases. You've probably heard the term, but these aren't just buzzwords. They're the hidden engines powering some of the biggest apps you use every single day. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how they work. You know, just think about your day. Every single time you tap your phone, stream a show, like a post, that's data. We're not just talking about a lot of data, we're talking about a complete and total explosion of information. And the old school databases that kind of built the internet, well, let's just say they're having a really hard time keeping up. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get a handle on this huge data problem we're facing. Then we'll introduce the solution, NoSQL. We're going to explore its four main types, figure out exactly when you'd use them, peek behind the scenes at how a giant like Netflix does it, and then wrap it all up with the one big idea you need to walk away with. So what's the real issue here? Well, it boils down to three things: the sheer volume of data, the wild variety of it, and the incredible velocity it's coming at us. You see, traditional databases, they love things to be neat and tidy, all in nice rows and columns. But modern data? Oh, it's messy, it's unpredictable, and it is lightning fast. It really demands a whole new way of thinking. And that new way of thinking? That's NoSQL. This wasn't just a small update. It was a total revolution in database design, built from the ground up for the chaos of the modern world. So what exactly is it? Okay, so that name, NoSQL, it's a little confusing, right? It doesn't actually mean no to SQL. It really stands for not only SQL, and that's the key. These databases aren't here to completely replace the old guard. They're here to work with them, giving developers a much bigger, more powerful toolkit to solve today's problems. So what's the secret sauce here? What makes NoSQL so special? Well, two things really jump out. First, flexible schema. This is an absolute game changer. It means you don't have to have a perfect, rigid blueprint for your data before you start. That's huge for apps that need to change and evolve quickly. And second, horizontal scaling. This is awesome. Instead of buying one ridiculously expensive super server, you just add more cheap ones as you grow. It's a model that's practically made for the cloud. But here's the thing. NoSQL isn't just one single thing. It's more like a toolkit. So now we're going to open up that toolkit and check out the four main flavors inside. Think of each one as a specialized tool perfectly built for a very specific kind of job. First up, we've got document databases. And honestly, the filing cabinet analogy is just perfect. Imagine each document is its own file that has everything it needs inside it. And you don't have to care if one file has slightly different information than the one next to it. That kind of freedom is why developers love them so much. So where does this come in handy? Well, think about a user profile on any app. Some people fill out every single field, others only a few. A document database handles that kind of variation without breaking a sweat. It's the same for a product catalog online, right? A t-shirt has very different details than a smart TV. No problem. Next in our toolkit, key value stores. If these databases had a religion, it would be speed, pure, unadulterated speed. The coat check analogy nails it. You hand over a key, your ticket, and you get back your value, your coat. It's that simple, that fast. No complicated lookups, just boom, instant retrieval. And that incredible speed makes it the absolute king of caching. I mean, why would you bother a slow database for the same piece of info a million times? Just stick it in a key value store and grab it in a blink. It's also why it's perfect for something like a real-time gaming leaderboard, where every single millisecond is the difference between winning and losing. Our third tool, the Columnar database, kind of flips the whole idea of a database on its head. Picture a gigantic spreadsheet, maybe miles long. Now, instead of being forced to read entire rows of data, a columnar database lets you read just the columns you care about. So if you need the average of 1 billion different prices, you just read the price column and ignore everything else. It is unbelievably efficient for analytics. This makes it the undisputed champion for big data analytics. Seriously, when you need to sift through billions of clicks to find a pattern or analyze endless streams of data from IoT sensors, you absolutely need that column-level efficiency. This is where columnar databases truly dominate. And finally, we have my personal favorite, graph databases. For these databases, the data itself is interesting, sure, but what's really important are the relationships between the data points. Just like the slide says, it's a social map. It's built to understand connections, who's friends with who, what products are bought together, how everything is linked. And the things you can do with this are just incredible. I mean, social networks, obviously, that's a no-brainer. But it's also how your bank can spot fraud by finding really weird, unusual connections between accounts. And it's the secret sauce behind those you may also like recommendation engines. They work because the database understands relationships. Okay, phew. We've seen the 4 big tools in the NoSQL toolkit. Now for the most critical question. When on earth do you actually use them? Let's get into the instruction manual. This little table really breaks it down nicely. On one side, you've got traditional databases. They have a fixed structure, and to make them more powerful, you scale vertically. You just buy a bigger, beefier server. NoSQL, on the other hand, is flexible and scales horizontally. You just add more servers to the pile. But the biggest difference might be consistency. Traditional databases are what we call ACID. Think of a bank transfer. It has to be perfect right now. NoSQL is often base, which means it'll become consistent eventually. That's totally fine for a social media like, but you wouldn't want that for your bank account.
So here's your quick checklist. Are you dealing with absolutely massive amounts of data? Is that data messy and unstructured? Do you need things to happen in real time? If you find yourself nodding yes to any of these, that's a huge green light to start looking at NoSQL.
But, and this is a really important but, traditional databases are not going away. Not by a long shot. For the absolute core of a business, we're talking finance, banking, inventory systems, where every single transaction has to be perfect and the data is well structured, a good old-fashioned relational database is still the most reliable and trusted choice. Period. Okay, so how does this all work in the real world? Let's look at the absolute masterclass from Netflix. They don't pick a side in the database wars. Instead, they practice something called polyglot persistence. It sounds fancy, but all it means is they use the right tool for the right job every single time. And it's just brilliant when you see it laid out. For your billing info, they use a traditional database, because you cannot have mistakes with money. For your viewing history, that endless, massive log of everything you've ever watched, they use a Columnar database built for that scale. To make sure your home screen loads instantly, a key value store for caching. And for search, a document database. See? They match the perfect tool to the exact problem. It's just smart. So, after all of that, what's the one thing you should really take away from all this? Let's bring it all home. This right here is the most important idea. The whole debate isn't NoSQL versus SQL. The best engineers and architects know that's the wrong way to think about it. It's about looking at the problem you need to solve, opening up your entire toolkit, and then picking the absolute best, most perfect tool for that specific job. So we'll leave you with this thought. You now have a map to the modern data toolkit that's running the world behind the scenes. The only question left is, what problems are you going to solve with it? Thanks for joining us.